Welcome again to our multi-part series on getting married in South Carolina. Many people ask, what is the marriage process? It can be confusing because every state is different. In South Carolina, the beginning of the process is usually to get your marriage license. That's whether you're going to have just a signing, which I will explain later what that means, an elopement, again I'll explain later, or a very large wedding at a rented venue. The first step is to get your marriage license. And you do that by going to the probate court. That's covered in another video, that whole process. So you have your marriage license. Now what do you do with it? Well, you need to meet with someone who can actually marry you, or what is called solemnize the marriage. In South Carolina, that person can be a judge, a minister, a notary public. Used to be justices of the peace could do that, but there are no more justices of the peace in South Carolina. Notary publics have basically replaced all the duties and functions of a justice of the peace. So you approach one of those people to marry you, or you engage them for a later date to perform the wedding. Now, the first type of wedding I mentioned was a signing. In South Carolina, you don't really have to have a full-blown ceremony where you exchange vows and exchange rings. You can just sign the paperwork. Now, there is a ceremony in the sense that, for instance, if you meet with a notary public to sign your marriage license and make your marriage legal, that person is going to ask you, do you, John, take Jane to be your lawful wedded wife, or vice versa? Or in the case of a same-sex marriage, do you, John, take Jeff to be your husband? The reason for that is you need to be asked, and you need to say the response out loud, because what the officiant is doing is witnessing the swearing of your oath. And in South Carolina, to swear an oath, you had to say it out loud. So that's why they would and should ask you that question. Well, that's it in terms of the ceremony. You're asked if you want to be married. You say yes. The other person is asked the same question. They say yes. Then you sign the marriage license. And then, like in another video, we covered what happens after that. So you've signed the marriage license. You've gotten your certificate of marriage. And that's how a signing works. You're done. Usually that will take 5 to 10 minutes at the most. The other type of ceremony that a lot of people do nowadays is what we call an elopement. And that's basically you are having a ceremony, but it's not going to be at a large rented venue with a large number of guests. An elopement can be just the couple at their home or at a free venue like a park. In South Carolina, we use the State House a lot. We use public parks. If you're in Charleston, you can go to the beach or the Battery or any of the other parks in Charleston. The same applies to Columbia. All those venues are free. And you can go there. You can have a small ceremony. The officiant will make some remarks. You'll exchange vows. You can exchange rings if you want to. Then the officiant pronounces you as being married, and then just like the signing, you sign the paperwork and you're married. The third major avenue of getting married in South Carolina is if you do the large traditional wedding where you rent a venue and you have a reception afterwards. If you rent a venue, it's essentially the same. The officiant performs the same function. The ceremony itself might be much more involved. It might be much longer. It might have supplementary ceremonies like the unity candle or the sand ceremony or a God's nod or something of that nature. Some people also do hand fasting. They jump over a broom. Any of those things can be part of your marriage ceremony. And you can do that. And then again, the process is just the same. you sign the paperwork afterwards, and then you're married. And that's it. The way you use a marriage license to get married in South Carolina.